Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel again. I'm TGS and I'm bringing you yet another Halloween video. It's the perfect weather. I have some extra free time because of my day off and I thought why not make a review. Now, I'm not so good at reviews, so bear with me, but this one is a video that I wanted to make for quite a while, but I didn't have the tools. I kind of made an attempt like last year, but I didn't have the tools. Like it didn't look pretty. It was filmed through my phone with footage on screen through my PS3, and now I feel like at least I have some decent footage, even though it's not technically from that set game. So without further ado, let's make a swift review of Dead Space. Now, there's only one right way to begin this review, and that is to say that this game is freaking horrifying, and I highly suggest that you play this, especially this time of year. I got it. I remember the first thing. I remember the day that I got it. I was tight on budget. It was like early 2010s and early 2010, and I got both of these two, which also share a wild connection. I'll explain later why I feel they're connected in some way. I got Ghostbusters and Dead Space. Both of these, I paid less than 20 euros. That's roughly less than $20. I know that sounds crazy, and I'll tell you this: they were definitely worth the money. Both of these games, and I played understandably unlimited. Oh, over exaggerating, of course, unlimited amount of playing time on both of these two. So Dead Space, when I got it, I had no idea about this game. I had no idea that it would later become like a really big franchise. I had no idea that it's as good as it claimed. Right here outside of the box, it says Game Critics Award. I don't know if it's visible. I took it back home. I thought EA and horror games, they don't go hand to hand. I mean, what's the deal here? I had low expectations, but like I said, I had paid less than 20 euros, less than $20, and I was like, yeah, what the heck? I already knew what this was all about. I had high expectations for this one. I was barely able to believe that I found this one in a bargain bin of all places, and needless to say, that was also an amazing game. We could also go into that at some point if you want. But since I found that opportunity of talking a little bit about Dead Space, let's grab on that. So I had low expectations. I go back home, and needless to say, I figuratively shit my pants. Okay? This is one of the most terrifying games I've ever played. Of course, I haven't played everything that's out there. I haven't even played Amnesia, which many people regarded like one of the really, really scary games. But, you know, most of the time, anything that was like horror related, I would I would get my hands onto, and I would experience it at least for a little bit. So I had an idea of what scares me or not. What do I feel like in a game it's scary or not? And I'm going to tell you this, that this is quite an unsettling game. And for me, it does so many things right than wrong that at some point I had to try and talk more about it. So let's start by, explaining the plot and the story on this one. So the story revolves around a group of people that's been employed and deployed by a company named CEC to go aboard this miner ship named the USG Shimura that's on orbit around a planet named Aegis 7. Because CEC, the company, has lost contact with them for quite a few weeks. So you assume the role of an engineer named Isaac Clarke in said group of people that also has some personal stakes aside of that being a mission like basically a job for him. It's also a really personal mission because aboard that ship, the Ishimura, is also his girlfriend, Nicole.
I just wish I could talk to someone. It's all falling apart here. I can't believe what's happening. Strange. Such a little thing.
That's her. Nicole?
So, needless to say, as you and that other group of people go aboard that ship, classic, everything goes haywire.
Down! Got it. Drop the flash shield. Everyone brace yourself.
Like right from the get-go. And you soon realize that the ship has become a death trap. Not only everything is malfunctioning.
Shit. It's not just comms or the guidance system. Half the Ishimura's in the red. Engines, hull, the trams.
Could do that kind of damage to a planet cracker.
On the ship, but it's also filled to the brim with mutant monstrosities that try to kill you. And as in every horror movie classic, you get separated from the rest of the group and you're left alone to fend for yourself. So the sense of isolation in this game is amazing. The ambience is intense, and whatever musical cues they're in there, they kind of remind me of Alien or Aliens. They have that musical cues. They kind of remind me of that. It's a game that, like I said in the beginning of this video, does so many things right and wrong, and I absolutely love it. As Isaac Clarke, being an engineer, you don't really have an excuse in not wanting to do what you're doing. Let me explain what I mean by that. There's other cases, like let's just say Resident Evil, you are Jill Valentine, and you have to go to that place, unlock that door, and do that stupid puzzle. And you're wondering, why do I have to do that? There's another person that is around somewhere, is like part of my team, and eventually they'll also go through that door. They'll also have to go through that obstacle. Why don't they just help me? It's like, sometimes there's some stupid excuses in video games. Here, you don't have an excuse about not doing what you're doing because you're a freaking engineer. If something is busted, you have to go there and fix it. You're an engineer. So, needless to say, every objective that you get in this game, it feels 100% natural. It's something that you should be doing and you are doing, even though you don't really want to do it, because every time you try to go somewhere in that ship, which is technically a death trap, everything is out there to kill you, there's always danger lurking around. So obviously, since this whole spaceship is a death hazard, not just a safety hazard. And like we've already mentioned, there's like this mutant bunch of creatures that try to kill you. Isaac Clarke also has to defend himself, and you have plenty of ways to do that. First of all, you have an amazing array of weapons from your basic energy cutter. I don't remember the exact name, plasma cutter. That's essentially normally an engineered tool becomes a weapon for you. How very fitting. And pretty much every weapon that's in the game, apart from the pulse rifle, which again reminds me of Aliens, is a weapon that is mostly made to chop off things, to cut things. Because your enemies in this game, the Necromorphs, I have so many things to say about these guys, and I don't even know I don't even know if I can cover it in this video. Can only be destroyed by dismembering them, which reminds me of Evil Dead a whole lot. So your best weapons in the game are those that are better suited to chop off limbs. And my top favorite in this one is the Reaper. And of course, Isaac has also other tools to help him along the way. His suit is basically a tool that helps him get through difficult situations. He has a stasis module that can be equipped on that suit that basically freezes things on spot for quite a while, depending on the upgrades you have installed on said suit. It also has a booster pack that can lift you off the ground and kind of fly a little bit like Iron Man does in situations where there is no gravity. That suit is also equipped with an oxygen canister that can sustain you for quite a while in situations where there is no oxygen. There's also places like that in the game. And of course, there's this kinetic ability that you can earn in the game that lets you move around stuff almost telepathically, and you can use those things, both the stasis and the kinetic abilities, in fixing things, but also in combat. That's really amazing and makes the game seem gimmicky at first, but no, it's really useful, especially the kinetic ability. You can find yourself saving some ammo, which is not a big problem in the game. You can get quite few ammo, but there is a possibility that you might have less than you want to or that you feel comfortable with, so you can use that kinetic ability to pick things from the ground and fling them on your opponents. That's pretty amazing. All these abilities can be upgraded as your weapons can be upgraded, your suit can be upgraded to have more health points and plenty of other things, plenty of other perks that you can get in store kiosks through the game, and something like benches, working benches, in which you can use to upgrade your weapons. So even though Isaac has all these abilities and all these weapons, and if you're careful enough in the game, you can practically buy enough ammo to feel safer, you never really feel safe. And this is a golden balance that makes this game so much horrifying for me. Your enemies, the Necromorphs, where do I begin? Like, they can attack you. First of all, they can attack you from every conceivable angle. There's parts in the game where there is zero gravity. Those things climb on the walls. They can shoot at you from the ceiling or from weird angles, and you have to be wary of them all the time. And for some weird reasons, in cases where there is this lockdown in several cases, these things seem to appear as close to you as possible. And even if not, they can launch at you. They're super fast. And have I mentioned they're creepy? Yeah, they can create that uncanny valley thing super easily, especially in the dark environment of Dead Space. Seeing them walking towards you with those blades for hands, like a praying mantis getting close to you with their eyes glowing in the dark, super unsettling. Not to mention that these things, you can tell that they have some human features, but they're quite different than your basic zombie that you can still tell it's a reanimated corpse. This thing is no longer human. It's like turning into something. It's super creepy, and the variation of the necromorphs. I wanted also to talk about that. There is, like I said, your basic type of necromorph that kind of looks like a praying mantis walking towards you with those deadly blades for hands. And then you have those small baby type creatures that they grow tentacles from the back and shoot at you. And there's this very unsettling enemy that is kind of like a dead body plastered on the wall, surrounded by dead tissue, that screams cries of agony, even though you can tell those are not human cries anymore. That is like, it totally like feels like a punch in the gut. Super creepy, super unsettling, and it's the last thing I want to hear late at night. Then you have those flying things that go on dead corpses and reanimate them, basically making them what I mentioned before, like the praying mantis thing. And of course, we have a bunch of other things scrolling around. If I start like mentioning each and every one of them, this video will not end. But there's also other things out there. And one of them is basically my favorite jump scare in the game, which is this one. But yeah, a great variation of enemies. They're super dangerous. They almost always feel a threat. You know, even those that in the beginning of the game, they kind of walk slower, they take less hits. Even those feel like a threat. And don't forget that also the entire malfunctioning ship can kill you. The stuff that you're trying to fix, big moving parts are rotating. I caught myself in situations where I'm trying to fix this centrifuge, and this thing just comes into me and slams me and rips me into pieces. There's also malfunctioning doors that if you don't use your stasis module on them, it can rip you to shreds. There's always something out there to kill you. You can die, of course, out of because of oxygen deprivation. There's there's a bunch of ways that you can actually die, and it feels so scary and it's anxiety inducing. There's always this sense of urgency in the game. I could talk in lengths about the plot and about what's really happening in the game, but I also feel like this would be a disservice to all these people that haven't really played the game before. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Dead Space is really this super popular classic that everybody knows about. Hell, I didn't know it when it came out, and when I started talking about it 2011, 2012 to friends of mine or people that were involved in gaming, they didn't know about it either. This game has amassed quite a lot of attention in later years. Yeah, I understand that. But for quite a while, it was considered a cult classic. And now let's talk a little bit about the negative aspects of said game, Dead Space, because we have also those. they're not that much of a big deal, especially for the time. I feel like the original Dead Space had a little bit of a problem with stiff controls, and if you take into account even games around the same time as Dead Space was released, were a lot smoother. Third-person games, they were a lot smoother. It didn't hinder my gameplay that much, but there were situations and some parts in the game that they felt awkward. And let's just say, there's this part where you have to shoot some asteroids down. Whenever I got this down to a T, it almost always felt like a fluke. And, you couldn't really fly in the game in situations where there was zero gravity. All these things have been addressed and fixed in the remake, Dead Space, also available for PS5 and Xbox. I think it's also on there, Xbox Series X. And there's also another thing that was fixed in the game, and that is in the older installment, in the original, you couldn't really explore the entire ship. You could go through chapters by walking to this tram that would take you to the next area, and that would basically close a chapter and begin a new one. You couldn't technically explore the ship. That is fixed in this remake. And there's always this shaft or this elevator that can take you to a different area, and this way you can explore and you can do some side quests that are also in the remake. They made those. They added those side missions to the remake, which basically are a way to include narrative that you normally get in Dead Space 2. I'm not really sure how I feel about that inclusion, but it's something that you can do, or you can just leave out if you don't really want to. You can proceed with your main story. Your main story is there, it's intact, it's almost one-on-one reenactment of the original. So, for what's worth, I feel like the remake, which also was not full priced, I think it's like $32, $35, at least when I got it, so that's super nice. There is something though, apart from the more defined models and the from grounds up new dialogue that on the remake of Dead Space, there is a little something that kind of annoys me a little bit, and that may just be me. I mentioned that there is a small connection in the beginning of the video between Ghostbusters and this thing. You know what it is? Your main character, your protagonist, the one you're taking control of, doesn't have a line of dialogue, doesn't have a single line of dialogue. Isaac Clarke never really talks in the original. And while some people would say that shows a lack of personality and how he gets more fleshed out later on in the sequels, in this first installment, I tend to disagree. I feel like him not having any dialogue, especially in a horror game, makes you feel more related to the guy. Actually, no, I'm saying it wrong. I'm phrasing it the wrong way. You feel like you are the guy from one point on. When there is your co-workers in the group that basically tasks you with various different things like go there, fix that. He never really answers. He never really says anything, Isaac Clarke. You are the one who's answering. And more times than not, I caught myself saying, oh yeah, go ahead and do that yourself. Of course, they couldn't do that. You're supposed to do all the handiwork. But yeah, as time progresses, you get to fill in the character's shoes. You tend to become Isaac Clarke as time goes by. The only thing you know about the character is that there's this video that he's watching, and somebody else is watching him watch that video, and they add, oh, you must miss her. And that's it. You have no exposition about the guy whatsoever. He begins as a blank slate to you, and that's the perfect condition for a horror game, because you feel as if you're Isaac Clarke walking down there in those dark corridors, with all these monsters that want to get him and essentially get you, because the only thing that Isaac Clarke has is the actions that you put him through. You're holding the controller, and it feels so much more impactful, especially in a horror game. Not to mention that it seems much more fitting for Isaac Clarke not to talk plot-wise, because, you know, as the story progresses, you start to understand some things that I don't really want to address, because that way I would spoil the plot, even though most of people have already done that in other videos. I still don't want to do it. A similar situation is there on Ghostbusters, because you're playing as this nameless cadet, and you end up, again, feeling the shoes of this guy, because he has no line of dialogue, only his gestures or whatever. So you feel like you're really there with Peter Venkman, Egon, and Ray and Winston. And yeah, it works. It works having a blank slate character that you're taking control of. It's very impactful, especially in a horror game. But that just might be just my own opinion, like my humble opinion. Let me know down there in the comment section if you disagree. Bottom line is, Dead Space was an amazing game, had some things to fix, and they got fixed, they got addressed in the remake. Only that tiny little tidbit that might have annoyed me a little bit, with Isaac Clarke having an actual dialogue. I won't be addressing more stuff about the plot or whatever. I'm not going to make this into a comparison. I just wanted to let you know that, well, there's this game, and if at this time of year you're looking for something to play, here you go, grab this one. It's not that hard to navigate. It actually has a very ingenious tool that you can, there's the R3 button, you can press it down and can show you exactly where you need to be. Tools like that, they're a double-edged sword. I have a mixed opinion about those. I think they'll kind of make us lazier as time goes by, but, you know, that, again, might just be me. It's actually very helpful in this game. I won't argue that. So that's my general opinion on Dead Space. An amazing horror game, has plenty of action and horror at the same time, which is, again, a golden balance. It's not easy to do so, having a character that can be technically armed to the teeth like a lobster and still be able to feel threatened by all the hardships, the enemies, and the environment trying to kill you. Spooky, horror-themed, definitely you need to check it out. If you haven't played it before, go ahead and give it a try. I'm pretty sure you can find like the remake for a pretty nice price. Like, forget those overpriced $70-$80 games, and, you know, grab this one, especially at this time of year. That was technically the review. I didn't say much. You know, if there's something that you want to add, just let me know. Yeah, guys, have a good one. And as for me, I'll see you next time. I'm waiting for your suggestions. If this is the first video that you see on the channel, press like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. And I'll see you next time.